The Wizard of Oz is a funny thing. We all saw it formatively at a very young age, or most of us seem to have for some reason or another. It is one of the oldest films which still feels to have a presence in the modern pop culture lexicon, whether due to the specific wash of the imagery, the wholesome energy of its narrative, the stirring effect it can have on children. I was no exception in what would have been around 2000 or 2001, I think, quite taken with what I was seeing, with older cousins, my mother and an aunt explaining what was happening as though this story was a rite of passage older than even they were, which it obviously was, and a lot of people like the music in it, and if any medium finds a means of being timeless, of having appeal no matter how old in the present day, it is music, and certain forms of music or specific compositions and recordings, to the chagrin of many music critics whose careers were dependent on pointing out to the unenlightened masses what was in fact new in an ocean of allegedly new releases. I still like The Wizard of Oz. I won't be going so far as to say it holds a place in my heart, and I go on and wax verbal about how much it means to me, like I might 67's The Jungle Book from Disney, Planet of the Apes 68, or even what, to some extent, those first few Jurassic Park movies mean to me, although it is certainly there, and if anyone I was in the presence of ever decided to claim that it was a lesser or otherwise sucky film, I would definitely be getting my back up, possibly at my social peril. 1939 was often called the best year in cinema history, or Hollywood's best year, which to a lot of people just meant the same thing, so for what it is worth, 9 films from 1939 have made the 2026 TSPDT Most Acclaimed Films list, though not all of them from Hollywood. Those films are Kenji Mizoguchi's The Story of the Last Chrysanthemums, John Ford's Young Mr. Lincoln, Howard Hawks' Only Angels Have Wings, Ernest Lubitsch's Ninotchka, John Ford's Stagecoach, Jean Renoir's The Rules of the Game, Frank Capra's Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, this film The Wizard of Oz, and director Fleming's other very famous film of that year, Gone with the Wind. Although it has been said that Fleming did not direct all of The Wizard of Oz, nor Gone with the Wind either, but I believe it is insisted that this is especially the case with Oz. Also cited for The Wizard of Oz are George Cukor, Norman Taurog, Richard Thorpe, and King Vidor, who I remember Noel Oakeshott saying to me was responsible for all of the black and white, or sepia, sequences of the film, and that in his opinion, those were the most impressive moments in the film, and one of Vidor's many great moments, as one of the most gifted of American film directors. I see it on the TSPDT list, ranked next, and I think, I'm not going to skip it, there's just no way. What films did I skip when going through the ranking? Well, obviously excluding films which I/AOD already have an upload for, the films were ranked 1 to 120, but I decided to pass on uploading, or just writing anything for, a video upon, for reasons that I/we just don't care enough for the film to feel motivated to pay any kind of tribute to it. The reasonings are my own, not necessarily AOD's, although he may or may not agree with them. Stanley Donen and Gene Kelly's Singing in the Rain, it isn't my thing. I don't care much for musicals. I can't fault anyone for cherishing it. It isn't what I enjoy placing on the television screen in front of me. Not much else I can say on this. Jean-Luc Godard's Breathless. I don't care for Godard pre-contempt. To learn more about why, check out a video I did uploaded upon the Jim McBride directed remake from 1983. I can elaborate upon it more if you'd like me to. I'll reply in a comment if AOD lets me at least, but just to save me the energy typing it up here, I just cannot be bothered now. Billy Wilder's Some Like It Hot, not really into the old Hollywood comedies or much film comedies in general, and this one has never been an exception, actually not in the slightest. Howard Hawks' Rio Bravo, yeah, don't make me do this. I don't like Mr. Howard Hawks much in general. I find this movie painfully unentertaining. I don't like, though, these old American cheers. They do nothing for me as a resentful Australian. I cannot fathom why anyone appreciates this film beyond adoring the mainstream consensus of when this film was released and was adored by the general viewing public, and that's a mainstream consensus I find so excruciatingly boring, one note, and just extremely undesirable. Spike Lee's Do the Right Thing. Oh man, don't make me do this too. Really, as a non-American, I don't get much out of Spike's films. Yes, I do think Malcolm X is wholly brilliant to feature, and When the Levees Broke is a superb documentary, absolutely, but I just don't find myself very engaged with his works, and Do the Right Thing does not display any revelations that anyone with a modern, more moral education is receiving, or so I'm hoping. It's not a truly visionary act of film direction compared to everything else going on in the world during that decade, the 1980s, and the protagonist Mookie, the film's pride, and his inferred moral ambiguity as a character prevents it from taking any meaningful, consciousness-raising stances beyond why can't we all just get along, coexisting with, but I understand that some people have it tough and are just trying to get by, which might have made Roger Ebert tell the world he bawled his eyes out in 1989, but to those of us born in 1996 or later, we're not sure what we're meant to find profound or even overly impressive in that movie. Had to be said. Fellini's Amarcord. Okay, this one I do not get. Maybe not being Italian, I am lost on something, but as much as I love Knights of Cabiria, La Dolce Vita, 8.5, Juliet of the Spirits, Spirits of the Dead, and Satyricon, and admire overall I, Vitelloni, La Strada, which I've always thought was a little overrated, but whatever, and City of Women, 73's Amarcord just does nothing for me, nor does 72's Roma, actually, while we're on that period of Mr. Fellini. Then there's Chris Marker's La Jetée, and Maya Deren and Alexander Hammond's Meshes of the Afternoon, which I haven't discussed because I/we don't upload any FOTDs on short films, just because I/we can't be bothered to. Yeah, we can close it here, and we really may as well. Now, next time to 1993, a film which is ranked very high indeed. I wonder if, after another viewing of it, I'll agree that it ought to be placed quite so high, because I'm not sure at this moment whether I actually do. So tune in next time to see what this feature shall be.